Hello, my name is Nicole, and thank you so much for taking the time out to listen. Today we are talking about ambient abuse and gaslighting, and there is a person who is an expert in this and who is also a narcissist. He has written many articles as well as books, and his name is Sam Vaknin. I am not going to get into too much detail dealing with ambient abuse, but I am going to make it plain for some of you all. That means making it easily understood so that you can do further research. Okay. But this individual has admitted to having narcissism, a personality disorder. And so what better person than to read his work? Ambient abuse and gaslighting. Well, first of all, what is it? Okay. Ambient abuse is the stealth, subtle, underground currents of maltreatment, okay, that sometimes goes unnoticed even by the victims themselves until it's too late. Ambient abuse penetrates and permeates everything, but it is difficult to pinpoint and identify, okay? So it is ambiguous, it's atmospheric, it's diffuse, hence its insidious and pernicious effects. It is by far the most dangerous kind of abuse there is, okay? So you're talking about people, and this goes back to unconsciously programming people to do evil. You are talking about people who are doing some things that you can't even describe, but you know that it's abusive, okay? And this sort of thing is what drives people into rage, into fear, because they don't know. They don't know what it is. I just know that it's something wrong with this person. I can't quite put a label on it. And I'm concerned. I'm concerned that this person might go off one day and hurt me or kill my children. I'm concerned that there's something right around the bend. I can't put my finger on it. It's an unknown. It's something that may strike at any given moment. I can't call the police up about it because then they're going to say, well, he has to do something or she has to do something. So I can't get anybody involved on a hunch or I suspect or I had a dream last night. You see? But it's abuse and it's around. It's in the atmosphere. And the person may even behave in such a way where they're dropping some little hints like, one day I'm going to get you. One day I'm going to hurt you. You keep on and I got something for you in the future. Okay? And you don't really know what to do with that. Because once again, they have never done anything. They may have been threatening this thing for 3, 5, 10 plus years. Sometimes they may say stuff and it's not even true. They tell lies. But what they do is they're making you slowly but surely go crazy. It's some crazy making tactics going on. They may use intimidation by walking up to you and getting real close to your face, whether they're yelling at you or talking real low. They might grab you by the arm. And they may give you an evil look as if they're going to jump on you. And you say, there's something wrong with this person. Yeah, they're abusive. You don't need a name. You don't need a long list of things that they've said and done. You just know that there's something weird. You got a feeling. It's walking on eggshells. You're tiptoeing because you know that they got a side to them where they're going to go off. You might even have this feeling like one day he just might grab that gun and he might shoot me and shoot him. I've got this feeling she might grab that knife one day and cut me. And what could you be doing? Sometimes it's the abuser that feels this way. What could you be doing? Could you be messing with them psychologically, doing some things to make them feel crazy? And so now you feel threatened. Now the abuser becomes a victim. Yeah, I know sometimes I'm real hard on her. I know sometimes I'm, real mean spirited toward him. Yeah, now you worried, huh? You scared. Jesus. So you know that there's this ambient abuse that takes place. You can't quite put your finger on it. You're feeling a little bit out of your mind at times. And sometimes people, they purposely do this sort of thing because they want you to go crazy so that they can get the kids. It's not always in the way that people think. Oh, I know one day she's going to, do something to make me hit her. And then she's going to say domestic violence and all that. That's what the mainstream media put out there. And a lot of times, yes, there are people that do that sort of thing. But there's other ways to make people do stuff. And it's not always in a way that folks assume. Sometimes men, as well as women, they just come up with all sorts of ways to make you feel like you're going mad. So that one day you're going to go off in a wagon somewhere, in a van, with a straitjacket. I remember this elderly woman. Elderly now. We're talking about senior citizen. Matter of fact, 60 plus years old. Husband kept telling her that she was crazy every time they got into an argument. And he knew he was doing some wrong things. But he kept saying it, and even told her that she needed to go on some medicine. So guess what she did? She went on some medicine. And she stayed on this medicine for a long time. Well, prescription medicine has their share of side effects, which made her husband, once again, say, see, I told you were crazy. Look, you can't remember anything. Look how you act. You see? So eventually one day she said that she just had this feeling like, I'm getting off this medicine. And she said when she got off this medicine, she really saw her husband for who he truly was. And it turned out he was the crazy one. Okay? You got some of these folks who'll sit up there and just keep telling lies. All sorts of lies. You see? And in this example with the woman, her husband was lying about all sorts of things. Once again, see, it adds to the crazy making. But she got wise to him. And when she got wise to him now, he was talking about as old as he was. He was like in his 70s talking about, you need to leave. You need to get out. You need to do this, that, and the other. And she said, oh, no, I'm going to stay here. But then it got to a point where now he was getting abusive with her, right? He was starting to, be physically abusive. And being that she's older, and she was very fair-skinned, the bruises and so forth were showing up on her skin. So she was trying to figure out ways at 60 plus years old to leave her home. So this isn't just about young people that go through, but this is older people too. And when a person keeps telling you that you're crazy or you're strange or you're weird or other people said you were crazy, right? Oh, they'll pull other people into it too. But other people are not as crazy as that person that's standing in front of you who's accusing you of being crazy. I tell you, I have met some very interesting people in my life. And there's one person that I cannot name, but I'm just going to be transparent with you. This particular person has some of the most psychologically messed up types of tactics that I've ever seen in my life. And some of these people are very, very intelligent. And that is why nobody can really pinpoint exactly what's wrong with them. They know there's something wrong, but they can't pinpoint it. I would say that some of this individual's tactics will fall under ambient abuse. And it's things that the individual does right there in the public, right there in plain view. And some of the people have been able to pick up on the behaviors, but other folks, they're caught up in all of the friendliness and the niceties and so forth that they can't see it. And the ones that have picked up on the ambient abuse, but they don't know that that's what they're picking up on, they're not this person's friends, that's for sure. They're not this person's favorite people. Because they know something's wrong. And so when these ambient abusers pick up on the fact that the victims know who they are, or people who have chosen to no longer be a victim, then they work work real hard to tell other people how messed up they are, how crazy they are, how strange, how demented, how whatever. You see, they got to mess up other people's reputation because they don't want to be found out. They've got to break folks' self-confidence. They got to break their self-esteem. This way you won't be believable. So basically calling you crazy and trying to get other people to go along with it. You may have laid something. I'm going to give you an example. You may have laid something in a spot and you know that you laid it right there. But because that person can't stand the fact that you're always right, they go over there and they remove that item from that spot. I know it's dirty, isn't it? It's gaslighting. So bear with me in this example. So they go over there and they remove the item out of your space. So then when you go back to look for that item, you say, where's such and such? They say, I don't know. What do you mean? I don't know. I know I laid it right here and I know you got it. I know you moved it. No, I didn't. You must have misplaced it. And they'll even go so far as to try to help you out. Okay? Try to help you out. An individual years back did this to me. Thought that I didn't have enough sense to know where I put something. And we're not talking about a man. We're talking about a woman. But the plan was to make it look like my accusation, the things that I was saying, was invalid. And also because the person didn't like the idea that I would accuse one of her favorite people. So, therefore, let me make you look crazy. Let me get in your head a little bit. Let me get the upper hand on you. So I'm going to remove an item and then act as if I don't know where that item went. Then you get people who will go ahead and let other people disturb your atmosphere. If you have ever roomed with folks, you'll know what I'm talking about. If you got somebody who is that ambient abuser, you can't quite figure out what's going on with them, but you know that they're abusive in some way. So you're rooming with people and people are borrowing your stuff, using your stuff and all of that. And then you draw the line and you say, I don't want you all using my items anymore. But you got that one who decides that they're going to go ahead and continue to do some things that are disrespectful to you. But then that person blames other people and tries to systematically cause some divisiveness between you and those other people who do respect you, who do, listen, and they're not doing anything to hurt you any longer. But that individual is going to continue because they don't like the fact that you drew the line, that you established boundaries. People who are very mean-spirited, that's what they do. They will pay you back somehow, some way. And if crazy making is one way, then that's what they're going to do. Now, if you were to stand before an audience and say this person did A, B, and C to me, and it really bothers me, some folks will say, oh, that's just a little thing. And what are you doing making a big deal about it? But if somebody does these things over time to the point where it frustrates you, you're going to want to sound the alarm on it, right? You're going to want to get some type of support. And still, those people say, that's not a big deal. I mean, they're not hitting you upside the head. They're not pushing you. They're not shoving you. So why are you making it a big deal? I mean, there's so many other people that's going through some stuff. But it feels like it, though. It feels like a person hitting you upside the head because they're messing with you. They're attacking your thoughts. They're attacking, your mental stability. They're making you feel like you can't trust yourself or trust anyone else. Things that you did skillfully, right? Things that you had an order about. The person wants to try to make you feel inadequate, make you feel like you don't know what you're doing and so forth. So they say, I'm going to take over, but I know how to do this. Matter of fact, I know how to do this better than you. I have a better sense of time. I have a better sense of organization, but then they say, no, I want to do it, right? Because they don't like the fact that you do well. So if I take all of these skills from you, if I take all of the responsibilities from you, okay, then I leave you in a place where I can tell other people, see, she can't do too much of anything. Ooh, isn't that dirty? But you got people like that. So all along you were, let's say, driving your children to school. You were doing it. You had no problem doing it. It wasn't inconveniencing you in the least. But here comes somebody who says, no, I'll do that. But it's fine. I can do it. I'll do it. I'm just helping you out. Right? But then not only that, then they say, I'm going to take over this bill, but I got the money for it. I can take care of it. Don't you worry about it. Right? And then they say, I'm going to take over, this chore. I'm not asking you to take over this chore. I just want you, to help out. No, I insist I'm going to take over this chore. Okay? What are they doing? They're gradually building up this case that makes it look like you can't do anything. Trying to cripple you. Crossing your boundaries. Trying to get you to become dependent on them. Because they see that you're very independent. So how can I break this person down so that they're dependent on me? Dependent on you to the point where one day they don't like this now because you're too dependent. So now when are you going to go out here and do this and that? And when are you going to handle this chore? And when are you going to handle this responsibility? I'm tired of doing this, but you set it up so that that person's dependent on you, abuser. Come on. We're just calling it out right now. God shows me some things. And I'm telling you, when you see this sort of thing systematically taking place, you then become independent. You then become the one that's going to find resources that are going to help you get up out of any and every situation where that family, because a lot of time you got family that's abusive like that, where that spouse or that boyfriend or girlfriend feels like they got the upper hand on you. No, thank you. I don't need your money anymore. No, thank you. I don't need you to do any type of chore around here. No, thank you. I don't need you to tell me that I need to do A, B, and C. I am quite capable of doing it on my own when I feel like it, when I want to. You got to be careful of some of these men that say, oh, you don't have to work. You got to be careful. Especially in a modern day society where most women work. No, thank you. I will work when I feel like working. Not when you want me to work, but when I feel like working. You see? Or, no, thank you. I don't need you to take care of me. I will get my job and I will work it, and I don't need you to buy anything for me. Thank you. You see? Learn that early on when you're dating some of these individuals. Now, some people are doing it out the goodness of their heart, and I recognize that, and I appreciate that. And early on, when I had my second two boys, my husband was not tripping out talking about you better go back to work and all that, because he knew I wanted time to be with my children. And when I got ready to go back to work, I did just that as a temp. Okay? But you got some people who, no, I don't want you to ever work because I think a woman should be here. Or I think a woman should be, taking care of the kids. And I think, well, maybe that woman doesn't want to do that. And who are you to put those type of rules on her? Or you got some who they're the opposite. Oh, you will work. Well, I'm going to go through my healing process first. Oh, no, honey. We got these bills and we got this and that. You see? So it can work either way. And a lot of times they got plans for that woman's money or that man's money. The reason why they're so persistent about one going back to work anyway. You got some of these folks who want you to defend them no matter what, even when they tell lies. And I'll tell you that I got to observe a family that was like this for years. You will support me. You will do what I tell you to do. Everybody around here knows that no matter what's said, no matter how bad, you will be there for the family. I'm telling you, that's destructive too. Because once again, see, it suffocates. It puts a veil over all of the abuse that's taking place. You just do what the patriarch, the matriarch says. That's it. But she lied. It doesn't matter. Okay? Let me read from healthyplace.com, where Sam Valkin's article appears on personality disorders. From the first moments of an encounter, and this is dealing with the abuse of information, from the first moments of an encounter with another person, the abuser is on the prowl. Okay? So that means in those early dating stages, right? And you can go back 10, 15, 20 plus years for some of you all. He was collecting or she was collecting information on you. The more he knows about his potential victim, the better able he is to coerce, manipulate, charm, extort, or convert it to the cause. So if the cause is I need a helpmate, which is really a slave mate, then he's collecting that information to find out what you're good at. If you've already been abused and used and so forth, well, that's even better because he don't have to do too much to get you to conform to his will. The abuser does not hesitate to misuse the information he gleans, regardless of its intimate nature or the circumstances in which he obtained it. He may have been snooping through your things. He may have gotten the information through third-party sources. Okay? He may have done a background check or two. And now he's got all these tools in his arsenal to be able to use to get you to do any number of things for him. Good slave. Good worker. Excellent helpmate. Here's another thing. Control by proxy. In Vakni's article, he says, if all else fails, the abuser recruits friends, colleagues, mates, family members. Come on now. That's why some of you all, when you talk to other people, you find out all this bad stuff that this person has said about you. May have talked to the authorities, institutions, neighbors, the media, teachers, all sorts of people, third parties to do his bidding, right? I got to get some people on my side. I cannot let folks believe that this woman isn't crazy, that this man doesn't have his woo, okay? He uses them to cajole, coerce, threaten, stalk, offer, retreat, tempt, convince, harass, communicate, and otherwise manipulate his target. Some of these people, that's my brother. That's my sister, right? Standing up for some of these dysfunctional folks. Then he has been able to get that person to attack you. So see, I told you how she was. See? Yep, I see how she is. And some of these people fall for it every time. But meanwhile, your brother, your sister just manipulated you. And you got their back. Woo, you got played too. He uses them to cajole, coerce, threaten, stalk, offer, retreat, tempt, convince, harass, communicate, and otherwise manipulate his target. He controls these unaware instruments exactly as he plans, right? All you are is a pawn in his game. But he loves me. That's my brother. No, he doesn't. He's been using you, sweetheart. But he cares about me. No, he doesn't. He's been just using you for sex. He got a wife. You see, I'm just throwing out examples. Pawns in the game, instruments, played. He employs the same mechanisms and devices, and he dumps his props unceremoniously when the job is done. So when I'm done using you, Dad, for your money, right? Then I'm going to go off to the next one and use that person. And then the next, and the next, and the next. She learns because she saw her daddy play women. She learns because she saw her uncles playing. I told you I wrote the book, Socially Sweet, Privately Cruel, Abusive Men. And parents, grandparents, what have you, put these people, these dysfunctional people around their children, and then the children grow up and they learn how the game is played. And now they are using ambient abuse tactics on their loved ones, friends, family members, and so forth. Another form of control, according to the article, by proxy, is to engineer situations, right? Manufacture situations in which abuse is inflicted upon another person. What better way than to orchestrate a family gathering, right? Where now all of the supporters of the abuser is going to go on attack mode. Yeah, my brother told me about what you said. Yeah, my son told me about all this stuff that you did. Yep, you are crazy. Yes, you are. And I told him not to be with you anymore. Such carefully crafted scenarios of embarrassment and humiliation provoke social sanctions, condemnation, okay? And there's other things. Physical punishment. I'm sure you can just list a whole bunch of things that may have happened to you or someone else. Society or social group become the instruments of the abuser, right? Pawns in the game. You see this at the workplace, some of you all. You got to get, right? You got to get certain people around, right? Maybe not you, maybe some other folks. They get some people to rally around them, to support them on some things. And they go into the meeting, and now you got somebody who is a turncoat, somebody who you thought that they were going to vote one way, but they vote a different way because, well, you know, so-and-so's plans, or promises, I should say, were a little bit more appealing than what you told me. So I'm going to vote for this person. Oh my goodness. I thought that we were in agreement. Well, you know. And meanwhile, the abusive person or the slickster or the manipulator or what have you, they figured out a way to get some people on their side. So these people are among us. And don't sit around being the ignorant one thinking that, oh, they just love me, they just like me, they this, that, and the other. But meanwhile, you just got this feeling that this person is just not right. There's something wrong. Or maybe you're the family member that has picked up on your son or your daughter or your cousin or your uncle or whoever that is very abusive. They've got something just real sinister about them. And it has you on edge. And you're worried about something bad happening. There's something about her that irks me. There's an evil. I don't like when people sit up there and tell me, you know, that they took care of this or took care of that, and they know they hadn't, but the whole plan is to drive me crazy or to make me look bad in front of others or to confuse me, okay, or to turn situations around and make me look like I'm the abuser when they're really the abusive one, okay? You sit back and you think about these sort of things. This is why those of you all who are so quick to side with your family members, okay, and you don't know all of what's going on, the reason why that wife put that son in jail, or why that daughter ended up running away from her husband. You got to know that there are some things that go on behind the scenes, or why that family member's no longer talking to all those relatives. There has been some things that take place in these families, and whether you know the name or not, the point is that there's been some abusive practices, and to jump on somebody's side and you don't know all the details is ignorant, and it shows just how messed up you might be, because a lot of times these people are dysfunctional anyway. That's why they support dysfunction. That's why they can't get away from toxic folks. That's why they continue to agonize in pain, and that's why they tend to get along with folks, because they're abusers too. So she spends so much time talking to that abusive woman because she got some abusive tendencies too. And why is it that he's always hanging around those toxic friends? Because he's toxic. And God shows us because we walk with them long enough, and he says, this is why I called you away from them, because you should see how they behave behind closed doors or around these people, or what they said about you, or the things that they're saying or doing to keep you from fulfilling my will, and all of the stuff that they're doing to try to drive you insane so that they can say, I always told you she was crazy. I wrote the book, She's Crazy. And I wrote that book to bring awareness to people who are really crazy, to show you the difference between the folks who are relatively sane in abusive relationships. We're talking about more specifically women who are batterers and the men who are the victims, versus the ones who are really insane. So see, this word crazy gets thrown around, but I think people forget who is really friend and who's really foe, who's really sane and who's really insane, who really has their stuff together and who's under control. Maybe they were diagnosed with something, but they have their stuff together, versus the one who is not together, who's not taking the prescription medicines and so forth. Stop blending everybody together and putting them in one box just because you don't understand what's going on in somebody's situation. Just stop doing it. God is trying to bring light to some folks. He's trying to take them up out of the ignorant box of thinking, but yet they want to stay in it because they are too lazy to read. They are too ignorant to want to get knowledge. They are too busy believing abused people, victimized people, to get some understanding from those who know, from those who are like-minded, from those who can see ambient abuse. In all you're getting, get understanding. You don't have to be that one. I'm validating someone right now. You don't have to be that one that's in this situation or situations where there's this shady behavior taking place, where there is somebody that's up to no good and you know they're up to no good and they're trying to start all sorts of things because they want a check in the mail, or because they want to take some children from you, or because they want to build up a case that makes them look like they're better than you. Understand that they're messing with the wrong one, because you are equipped with knowledge and that you can turn every situation around for your good, because God gave you that knowledge. So while they're running around here talking about somebody's crazy, somebody's weird, somebody's strange, or what have you, the only crazy, weird, strange person is the one that's accusing you. And God's about to flip that thing upside down. I will tell you, in my own life, it's happening right now. People just don't know what's about to hit them, because we're not playing this little silly passive, aggressive type of game. We put God on a case. And when we put God on a case, these passive aggressive types, these dysfunctional types, these people who think that they know so much, they're about to be brought down low again. Because some of them, they already went through fires, but they going through it again because they put their mouth on the wrong people. No, I don't have a priest collar. No, I don't have a bunch of letters behind my name, but I do have Jesus. And some people mess around with the wrong folks. They talk and falsely accuse people of things that are incorrect. You will know the difference between a child of God and a child of darkness quite easily, because you can see the fruits on their tree, and you know who's being delivered and you know who's still in bondage. So for some of you all who have had enough of this foolishness, put God on a case, and I'm telling you, you will see changes quickly. Quickly, you will. Because it's going to happen within their minds first. Since they want a crazy mate, watch who ends up going crazy. They want to say you're delusional and you don't know what you're talking about and all this other stuff. Watch who ends up being accused of being delusional. So we just trust in the one true God, believing that he's going to work all these things out for our good. Face your foe. Go over to faceyourfoe.blogspot.com. When it's time for confrontation, you'll know how to deal with it. Also, do read your word. Get into your word. Check out Proverbs. Understand some personalities that are out there. And also, I suggest that you get around like-minded believers who pray and who cast out demons, because sometimes people put their demons in or around folks. Okay. And if you are not covered by the blood of Jesus, you are susceptible to carrying out the same behavior that your abusers have carried out upon you. And you don't want to be that person. So get around saints who's going to pray for you. Well, that is it. Blessings to you. Please do check the description box for anything that might be of interest. You've been listening to YouTube NM Enterprise 7. Subscribe today. Also, if you haven't given, we do welcome donations. Blessings to you.